All right. Well, welcome to Indie Fireside. Like Josh said, we discuss games as in depth as we can, examining all the aspects that work and what didn't work. This month we played The Order of the Thorne, or the full name, The Order of the Thorne, The King's Challenge, because apparently there's another game which I don't know the status of. I haven't heard much about it, but even though I follow this guy on Twitter. Um, but at the end of this game, it advertised that there's a next game that might still be being made. So,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the first, I guess, Order of the Thorn game called The King's Challenge. Um, it's an adventure game, and
A point-and-click adventure game.
point-and-click adventure game made in AGS. So let's start with all of the good things about this game, Zach.
Standard disclaimers apply. This is not a spoiler-free zone.
Right.
Will be
Oh yeah, especially this type of game.
Right,
Spoilers would matter. If you haven't played it and you don't want to get spoiled, then go play it and then come back and watch the video on demand of this show if you want.
Right. So I'm assuming in normal fashion, I will go first,
Of course, I always
Okay.
make you go first.
or at least someone, not you.
Yes.
So, I thought long and hard about this, and I think that the best compliment I can give this game is that it reminded me quite a bit of playing King's Quest as a young child. The feel of the game had had many things reminiscent of King's Quest in it. So I think that they captured that, and I think that's exactly what they were going for, was a family-friendly, child-friendly, King's Quest-like adventure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Is that it? Is it my turn now?
That's what I'm going to open with. So yeah,
All
let's
right.
hear you talk a little bit.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I would say I'd add to that the artwork was great. There's some really beautiful environments in there.
Right, this is a true to form. Like all the artwork is 200 pixels by 320 pixel. I'm guessing
Yeah, I don't know the
very
exact resolution,
hand
but it's
Robert. Yeah.
definitely looks like something that you would open up and play in the early '90s
Mm-hmm.
for
The
sure.
only reason I know the resolution for sure is that when I first opened it, it changed the resolution, and it's very hard to get out of a resolution that's 200 by 320.
Oh.
Like nothing, you can't reach any menus at that resolution.
Yeah,
So that
when
was
I
fun.
alt tabbed out to another window, I had another app running full screen, and I tried to alt tab into that one, and it had changed the resolution of that one, which was a pain. And so I just had to stop using that application and closed it. But yeah, so yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be alt tabbing out anyway. You should be playing the damn game. Um,
yeah. So you said the background art is pretty good, right?
yeah,
There's certain
yeah,
environments that are um, I mean, you're supposed. This is like a fairy tale, which they opened with this little thing. It's like, read your
mhm.
kids fairy tales.
Yeah. It's
Apparently
apparently an
by Albert
Einstein
Einstein.
quote.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to know if that's true or not. Um,
Oh,
you know, most quotes were made up,
yeah, I
as
think that's
Pythagoras said.
fortunately a little bit true.
No.
There's certain environments. I'm thinking mainly like the pixie tree. I thought was a very nice environment, very
Right.
well done. And then on the other side of this is that there's a lot of environments which just reminded me so much of playing like this would be considered VGA graphics, I guess, even though it seems much lower resolution than what I think of. But I kind of think of like the the nicer King's Quest games that didn't have the super blocky aesthetic.
Not the very, very first ones in the 80s, yeah.
They had like 16 colors. Yeah, the ones that had like, this is like a 256 color game. I think that's really the main thing that makes it look so. That was like the big jump, right? I remember there was pretty rudimentary, like King's Quest 1 was very rudimentary. And I think mainly the issue was the palette was like a 16 color game. Yeah, and when you hit 256, it was all of a sudden a whole different like experience.
Yeah. I mean, King's Quest 1 was what, like 1983? So,
Yeah, it's amazing that it was just graphical in the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
So like things like the whole swamp sequence, I thought those were really nicely done environments. Yeah, so I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. Some notes that I have here about it is that the opening music in the intro, I love that. It's very 80s. It's very like 80s synthesizer, music that, gets you pumped up to play the game. That was good. I like that opening. It was a very, very 80s-y opening. Not just the music, but like the whole style of that opening was just like you're watching a B movie from the 80s or something.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
The whole thing is voice acted. I can tell you that. That's a really nice thing. Yeah, voice acted decently too.
And the mouths move. Sometimes the mouths don't move. In my games, the mouths don't move. So that's good. I mean, the mouth it's not lip synced, but the mouths move up and down. So that's nice. Nice little mouth moving animation you got there.
Yep.
It's a nice, pleasant little environment, that it kind of takes you away to. Like you said, very kind of childlike, family friendly, leaning toward, safe.
Yeah, we sort of have to like corral our thoughts here because this is. I didn't actually know going into this, but the fact that this is like an episodic story changes things entirely. Yeah, I didn't either, right? So so there's a lot of world building that you don't get the payoff for that they sort of hint at. I don't know how much they've actually done, but like there's the spider people that you don't get anything out of. There's the troll you don't get anything out of. There's
I think the troll is just kind of obstacle, generic obstacle. I don't know that the troll is going to come back.
There's something behind him, right? I mean, there's.
He likes treasure, and
there's an obvious puzzle, and there's some location on the map that's behind him. So I'm assuming they have some
behind him. I mean, you go to the rose garden.
Oh, I couldn't get to the rose garden. How do you get to the rose garden?
Well, how'd you finish the game if you didn't go to the rose garden?
I never needed to go there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Huh. All right. Interesting. I wonder if I did some kind of side mission. Now that I think of it, maybe I actually didn't need to complete that part.
Okay, well, tell me about that.
I don't actually know what it did.
So there you go. There's some non-linear gameplay in this. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, so there's the rose garden. Once you get past the troll, when you get there, that Fowlin guy, what's his name? The adventurer guy?
Yeah.
He's okay, so you go there and there's a woman there and you say, it's the queen and I found you. And then the Fowlin guy shows up and he says, I found her, I shall take the credit, and he grabs her and runs off. And then you're like, darn it. He got the queen. And then you can pick a rose when you're there, and then you go back and you say, well, I guess I'll go to the ceremony to watch him get his medal and whatnot. And you get there, and that guy by the fountain whose name is
Chucker.
Chucker. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you say, "Hey, where's the ceremony?" And he's like, "Oh, there's no ceremony. That wasn't the queen. That was the tavern owner's daughter. He
Oh.
just thought it was the queen." And so that whole thing happens if you get past there. And
Okay,
then
so
you
now I
can
feel like
give.
I missed out on stuff, right? Because I never, they talk about the tavern owner's daughter, but do you talk to her? Do you?
You don't talk to her because the moment you see her, when you say, "Are you the queen?" or something like that, and then before she even answers, the other guy shows up and says, "Aha, you're the queen. Come with me." So you don't really get to talk to her.
But her
But
house is right next to the tavern,
yeah,
right?
but she's never home. I don't know where
Oh, okay.
she ran off again. But you get a rose, and then if you have a rose, then you can match make the potion store owner with the
Yeah,
fisherman.
yeah. So it's interesting that you bring this up because I thought it's because that's what he keeps saying. I'm looking for the rose for your lady. I forgot her name, Gwendolyn or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Uh, and so I was looking all over for a rose, and I couldn't find one. But if you just play that love song enough times in her presence, then she says, "Oh, I must run to him," and she runs off.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah, I wonder if that's a bug, actually.
I just did it like I don't know, maybe once or twice, and it didn't work. So then I got the rose, and when I gave the rose to her, she's like, "Oh, the song and the rose together means he really loves me." And then,
Interesting. How do you get by the troll?
oh, yeah, there's some. This is one of the silliest things, but we're talking about good things, so I won't mention how silly it is right now.
Okay. I'm very interested, but okay, we'll get to it by the end of
No,
the
I'll just tell you because
okay.
it's not worth waiting for. there's there's a tree with a hole in it,
Yeah,
and there's
right.
some treasure sitting in the hole. You just
Sure.
click on there's some treasure in this hole. Well, there's also like a cutscene that happens.
Yeah, but the dwarf tries to kill you if you try to take the treasure, so you can't take the
Yeah.
treasure.
Oh, but the girls show up and save you.
Yeah, but then you try to take the treasure, and it says, "Oh, you better not do that. You don't want to mess with that dwarf again," and it won't
But
let you
the
take it.
dwarf, but the dwarf has been turned into a fungus.
That never happened for me. How did that happen for you? Whoa, you're blowing my mind. None of this stuff happened for me.
Really? Okay, that's what
Yeah, none
happened.
of this stuff happened for me.
Okay. Well, what happened with me is that the girls showed up. I tried to
Yeah.
take the treasure. I also spent forever wondering how the hell to get treasure. This is also one of the parts. I'm like, because I saw him. You see him when he gets his beard stuck in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the girls go off. And I even like clicked it at that point, but I missed the hole or something because I didn't even
Okay.
nothing happened. So I figured, oh, that hole isn't really a hot spot, but it was. So after wandering around everywhere for a million years, I eventually came back and tried that hole again. I did some other stuff in the meantime, and I tried to get the treasure out. The dwarf showed up, tried to kill me. The girls show up, and they say, um, and oh, stop doing that, and the dwarf doesn't stop, and so they're like, oh, you really are a bad man. I'll teach you a lesson. And she mutters some magic words, and he turns into a mushroom.
Huh. When I did that, the girls come in and they just say like, "Don't do that," and then he says, "Oh, okay," and then leaves.
Oh, really?
Basically, yeah. Basically, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Did you save the girls from the bear first?
No, I don't think so.
Uh, oh,
Where's the bear? Oh no, there is a bear, the sleeping bear, which turns out to
yeah.
be the princess.
That's the bear. So the the dwarf is for some reason is in a fight with the bear,
Oh,
and the girls show up, and the dwarf tries to convince the bear to eat the girls,
it's
and
like you played a completely different game than I did. To be quite frank,
really okay. Uh, I mean, you have to get the honey bees, the honey
I did not
thing.
need to even touch those bees. I wanted to use them, but I couldn't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how you get rid of the bear and stop her from killing the girls. Supposedly, even though I don't think that she would, after you realize that she's actually the princess. But
Man, okay, so all right, wait. Let's start from the beginning here. All right, so I just played through this over the last like hour or so just to like refresh my memory. All right,
yeah,
so you join this. We're just gonna run through the plot, okay? Is
yeah.
that fair enough? Okay,
Make
you.
sure we're playing the same game.
No, we're never playing the same game. I wonder almost if we have a different version of the game. That's what I kind of wonder.
Okay.
All right, so okay, you take on this quest. There's a bunch of several comical characters. Like Chucker is a huge goof, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The doofus, right? Okay. All
Well,
right,
all
but
the
you're gonna,
characters are somewhat comical. I don't know that there's a serious character in the lot, but
yeah. Actually, that foul land guy, he's actually funny, right? He has like all the stories he'll tell you in the
all right,
tavern,
yeah,
which are actually
yes,
kind of humorous. Okay,
yeah,
so then you leave, and then the second you leave the town, the pixie comes and steals your father's
yes,
songbook, right?
yep,
Okay, good. All right, so the goal is to get that back first,
yep,
foremost.
right, yep.
Okay, so
By the time you do, you're pretty much done with the game. At least
exactly, it does basically take up the entirety of the game.
yeah,
All right, so in order to get that back, you talk to them. You need to get them a harp from the swamp, right?
yes, yep,
Okay. So then you find the swamp. You can't go in the swamp until you match up
yeah,
Ted or Teddy with the
Ted,
girl.
yeah, Ted and Potion Girl, yep.
Yeah. All right. Match
Who,
up.
who weirdly enough, the other guy says, "Oh, she's really good looking. Every guy in town
Yeah.
wants her." And then you
Yeah.
go and talk to her, and she's like, "I'm so lonely. I wish I had a man."
They're all too.
Something's not
They're
adding up
all.
here.
They're also intimidated. Clearly, she's a looker. You can tell just by the character model. All right. Okay. So then you talk to Ted. You basically make a love song on the spot to
Yep.
sing to her. Okay. So all right. So you can go back there, and I found that if you play that enough times and talk to her enough times back and forth, then eventually she's like, "Oh, I must go to him," and then she'll leave.
Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's basically what I did. Then he's God at that point. Then you can go in there. The turtle gives you the secret path through to get to
Yep.
the harp, which
Yep.
was actually kind of a nice feature. I liked that. Very reminiscent of old school adventure game stuff.
That took me a while too. That damn swamp maze.
Yeah, but I really liked because I didn't actually get the clue first run through because basically he says something and you're like that makes no sense and then you go off and then when you just to the point where I was giving up and I was like oh crap I have to go to a walkthrough he says what was it that turtle said he said this and I was like oh crap that's what it is so that was so well done it was exactly on like
It
the
does give you
me
the
giving
reminder.
spot
Yeah.
so very well done all right so I'm in the maze you go see the seer and you get the harp you get the seer and she gives you some fruit juice or something, which you're going to use in a potion.
Yeah.
And then you solve this color puzzle to get. Actually, I don't even know what the purpose of that color puzzle is, except for
to just prove you're worthy. Apparently, that's what it is.
To get the next quest, which is to get like some juniper berries or something, some berries.
Yeah, some kind of berries from a tree.
Okay, but at the same time, you also need to get the spider out of the swamp, which I missed the first time around.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So then you leave. You go to the pixie tree, which is conveniently the next screen over. That's very nice of them. Yes. And you get your father's book back via certain methods, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you got the book back. You lost the harp. You lost the spider and the glass jar, I think. All right, you leave. You got the book. You can go back to town at that point. I'm trying to think what the next things are.
Okay, after you get the book, then you need to.
I mean, you already got the mushroom to get the glass jar to get the spider, so I forgot about that. But yeah. You go back to town. You can go talk. Yeah, you need to build a potion to fix the flower to get the berries, right? So, all right. You go to the potion lady, give her the juice, give her the watermelon you got from the picnic people.
And then you have to picks the
Put it on
flower.
some crystals. Crystals are all over the place, so that's no difficulty.
Yeah.
You pick the flower, you go plant the flower, or actually you
Get,
revitalize the flower, plant the flower,
get the
play the happy
berries. Give the
song.
berries to the witch.
The witch.
The witch gives you. Oh, the witch gives you. Just advice to go talk to the monk. Basically, that's
Right.
all she
Yeah.
gives
Right.
you.
To get a
Yeah.
new song. Right.
Yes. She just gives you a new dialogue option when you talk to the monk, for which for some reason you didn't talk to him about music before, even though you're a bard. But
Actually, you do talk to him about music before, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So right, you get the new song. The new song reveals the princess. You go get the princess. You're done. Bam. And then you go to the in game thing. All right.
Okay. So the only
That's what
difference.
I did.
Okay. Well, there's the part where you. So there's a bunch of interaction between those girls and the dwarf.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is necessary though for me.
Okay. Because there's the.
No, there is. If you, I actually went to go see like did the boat ride with the death guy.
Oh yeah.
So you need them to get the song to get your coin back. So I also did that, but as far as I can tell, you don't need that hood for anything. You don't need that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need the hood to get. You need the hood to get the beehive.
That's what I figured.
You put the beehive on the bamboo, and then you dangle the beehive in front of the bear to save the dwarf and the girls from the bear.
Okay. So, all right. So what this is telling me is that the game has like certain shortcuts. Like if you can't figure it out, then it kind of like gives you an easy way out, maybe. Or I was playing some different version of the game.
It's probably the same version.
So I tried. How do you get the beehive? Right. I tried using the cloak on the beehive, and nothing happened. It said that these bees are agitated.
You have to play a song to calm the bees down first.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's that song of peace or something that somebody gave you. One of the girls.
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Interesting.
So the reason you didn't have to do all that is because you didn't need the rose for some reason.
Right, so I was able to hack around that, right? Because that might have been just a bug.
That's the only difference. That's the only difference when it comes down to it between your experience and mine is that you didn't get the rose. So that entire sequence to get the rose, getting the cloak, using the cloak to get the beehive, using the bamboo to attach the beehive, save the dwarf from the bear, get the treasure from the tree, use the treasure on the troll, get the rose. That entire sequence you didn't do.
Interesting.
Because you have to do all that to get the rose so that you can convince the girl to get with Ted.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, so if you're programming a adventure game, you miss one check, or you make one bug, and then you can cut out a whole.
You cut out half the game. Apparently.
Actually, yeah, that's like a huge chunk of the game, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even get to see. That's a bummer. I might go back and. Now I know what happens though. That was actually one of the really positives of this game, was that I felt like I never really felt super stuck in the game. There was a few times that I spent, I don't know, a good 10 minutes just walking around, being like, okay, I tried this. But I never like felt like, oh man, I need to go to the walkthrough, until I was in the swamp and I was completely lost, and then it gave me a hint that it helped me figure it out. So
yeah, well, I certainly wandered around a lot trying to find the treasure. Other than that, I think everything else didn't take absurdly long time to figure out. Yeah, figuring out to play music to the bees took a little while, but
I mean, it is a pretty core mechanic of the game, right?
Yeah.
Just to play music in different areas.
Although
I should have
thought of that earlier, really, but yeah.
All right.
So anyway, we've gotten on a big tangent.
I know, but I needed that to like understand what you're seeing, what you're thinking about.
So, so good environment art, good enough music. Nothing really stood out to me, but nothing was really bad. I mean, the music that the guy plays is okay. It's, background music is fine. Yeah. So yeah, fun game. Nice little lighthearted fairy tale sort of thing. Now we're gonna skewer it.
No, we're just gonna. I don't know what we're doing at this point.
No,
We're
it was fun. So and I'll put that out there. I'm glad that I played it. So, any negatives from this point on, to keep that in mind. So negatives, Zach, go ahead.
Okay. I thought that this game was not exactly. Well, I mean, I don't know who it's for. I guess maybe that's if I wanted to be step back and give the biggest. Like, I don't understand who this is for because it feels like it's for children, but I don't think children will be interested in it. But then again, I don't know exactly what children are interested in. But this doesn't feel like a game. Children. It feels like a nostalgia game. It feels like the game that's written for me, who played like early, not like the beginning first King's Quest, but like the King's Quest 3-ish sort of King's Quest stuff, which I really enjoyed. But I don't think this is going to resonate with kids today, and it's too easy and too. It's not even so much that it's easy; it's too like safe and not sharp enough for an adult audience.
Yeah.
When I first started this game, I was certain.
Syrupy.
Yeah, it was very syrupy. When I first started, I was certain this was going to be a biting comedy where there was going to be some edgy, like really cynical humor in it. A lot like Quest for Infamy has, which I had not actually played, and I still actually kind of can't really say that I have. I played a little bit of it just to get a flavor for what else they did. And that game much more fits the tone I'm looking for, but I got stuck within like the first like 20 minutes of playing that.
That
and I
game's
couldn't
really
figure
easy
out.
to get stuck in. I've played Quest for Infamy. I actually have never completed Quest for Infamy, but I'll not get too far into that. But that
that game makes sense to me, right? That game is like the humor makes sense to me. The humor, there is no humor for the most part in this game. There is a straightforward fairy tale.
Yeah.
There's some goofy characters. The Fowlan guy is pretty funny at times, but yeah, there's not enough bite in the story for an adult, and I don't think children are going to be interested in it because that's not where their minds are. That's not like the hot technology right now.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it probably is for adults. It is for the nostalgia crowd because I mean, look at the graphics. It's clearly, remember the early '90s sort of thing, and kids aren't gonna get pixely graphic games most of the time. At least that kind of style. I don't think those types of games are definitely kind of nostalgia games for sure. So I think it is an adult audience. It's maybe an adult audience that wants to relive childhood in a way, so that's why it's kind of childish. My guess would be.
Yeah, I mean that was the charming bit that I got out of it, right? Is that, like I said, it brings you back to those times where you were playing something that had no like cutting wit to it, but yet you were still okay with it because it was telling you this like fairy tale story. It's just that doesn't have very much impact anymore, right? You need that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a problem for me if I start a game and I'm certain it's going to be a comedy. I'm like waiting for some sort of punchline, and it just is it coming? And is it coming? And you're just like, oh, seriously? Or I'm waiting for some sort of twist or surprise or something that's going to make this kind of a brilliant game, and I'm just not seeing it.
It's cartoony, but not necessarily a comedy. You're right. It's not. Aren't really. It's not really a comedy. It's definitely sort of. It's definitely cartoony in character and very syrupy sweet. Oh, this is the best land ever. It's so beautiful and everyone is so nice and kind. That's what everybody says all the time. Nobody has any problems or gripes. It's like, how do you like this city? Oh, it's the best city ever. What is it? That's the next guy. Oh, this is the best place in the world. But
I mean, there's some standouts to that. I mean, the Pixies were, I thought, pretty. I like the Pixies quite a bit, actually. The tone of them, because they didn't have that feel to it.
Yeah. I thought for a while, I was convinced that the queen was going to have disguised herself as one of the Pixies.
Ah.
But
I was convinced. From the get-go, I got out, and the first time you control your character, I was like, look, there's a statue, and Checker's sitting right in front of that statue. I bet the queen is that statue, and somehow he's going to win this stupid contest, because he's just going to sit there by that statue, and then she's going to be there for like
awesome
3 days, and then have to go piss, or she's going to get out, and he's going to find. I was like, this is going to be brilliant when that comes and that unfolds. I thought I was so smart, and I clearly misjudged everything about this game.
That would have been awesome.
But alas, no. It was. In fact, this game a lot of the times, whatever the thing you was like, that looks weird. Oh, I bet you that's like. Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't cleverness should not have been your guiding like light in this game.
Yeah.
Like whatever the most obvious thing is probably what. It's probably the answer. Yeah. Which is what is great for kids, right?
I did not guess that it was the bear until the very end, though. So, I guess that's.
Well, I mean, I guess that fairly early, but I don't know. You had a completely different experience, right? The bear's like attacking people. So
yeah. So
it was weird. The bear was just sort of sleeping in the woods. You're like, oh, okay. This bear is just hanging out, doing nothing in the woods. That's weird. Okay. Well,
I think the reason why the bear never attacked anyone for you is because the bear was sleeping there, and that sequence only happened after I got the beehive. So I think getting the beehive triggers that cutscene to happen the next time you go into that scene.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's see. Got some notes here. Oh yeah, I have. So there are only 7 people who enter this challenge, really? It's supposed to be like a prestigious event and there's 7 people? I mean, if I held a challenge, I could get 7 people. And in fact, I do regularly when I do my game jam every September. There's at least 7 people enter that. This is like the King's Challenge and we got 7 people?
Do you offer them any wish that you could possibly fulfill for them?
I don't. I offer them like $100. That's it. if their wish costs $100, then they get any wish they want.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it is probably olden times. People were, busy tilling the soil,
churning butter and whatnot.
Right,
whatever they do. So that struck me weird. Like the moment that scene took place, I'm like, seriously, 7 people? There's 7 people entered this challenge. Although to be fair, I think there's only like 20 people that even live in this kingdom, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and half of them are guards, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like when you go by the town square by the library, there's people who walk by.
Oh yeah,
might be repeats,
the same 2 people over and over walk by. Yeah, they like walking around the city.
Yeah. So this was like a Kickstarter game, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
where they kickstarted this game and like a finalized version of Quest for Infamy, like a
At the same
commercial
time,
version.
the same Kickstarter.
Yeah, in fact, I believe the Kickstarter was for Quest for Infamy, like a commercial version, and then this was a stretch goal that they hit.
Oh, I see.
Believe.
Okay.
So that's yeah, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I mean, this came out of the Kickstarter surge when everyone was getting Kickstarter games. It was very popular back then. I don't know. I think I feel like that popularity has waned a bit.
Yeah, well, certainly the success rates have waned. So probably what they were. So this game came out like, what, 2 years after Quest for Infamy? So it's weird that they would be putting them together.
Well, I think so. Quest for Infamy was released as sort of like a free game, right?
I don't think so.
No, never was.
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, Huh. Okay. Then again, sometimes I say stuff on the stream and I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I apologize to all listeners.
I'm pretty sure that Quest for Infamy was definitely a Kickstarter game, but I didn't realize this one was. I thought this was just their follow-up to Quest for Infamy, but it may have been Kickstarted too. Well, it would be very surprising to me if they were put together in the same one, though.
Well, you keep talking, and I will try and confirm that before.
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, I will say some other things in my notes here. One of the problems I had with this game is there's no real clear indication on a lot of the screens of what directions you can exit them.
Yep, I remember that.
There's like you can go on this side of the tree or that side of the tree, and it won't be really obvious that they go to different places, or it won't be obvious that you can exit the screen in one direction. I mean, they need to have the pop-up texts on the side of the screen, like they do for the hover-overs. I don't know why they don't just have the screens lined with hotspots on the directions that you can go. It's easy enough to do.
So interestingly, I played this in a window because I didn't want to fuss with resolution changes, and that actually is super annoying to have really narrow hotspots for screen transitions when you're not in full screen, as you probably can imagine. It's easy to click outside the window.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, especially since you can't see them. I mean, there's no pop-up.
I mean, you don't know how close you have to be, right? So you're like, do I need to be within 2 pixels or do I need to be within 5 pixels, which is a world of difference at this resolution.
And especially when you're going up, because
up is probably the safest thing, right? Because there's you're in like a perspective drawing, right?
So my problem with going up was that I would just click. I would move the mouse up to click on going up, and since there's no indication of where the hotspot is to click on, I'd just end up moving the mouse up too high and clicking on an inventory item instead of going up, which is it's a few seconds of time lost, but it's just annoying.
Well, one thing I did appreciate was that if you are in a walking transition, you can right click to skip it, which I very much appreciated when you're wandering around. Under slow walking.
Really? You could write. Okay, so that's something that I did not know, and it is very non-standard. Usually you double-click to skip it.
Yes, usually you double-click to do it. Right? Yeah, right.
So I think that that is also a design mistake in this game. Right-click is generally accepted to be either examine or change the cursor, depending on what control scheme you're using. But right-clicking to skip, that's too non-standard, I think. Nobody's going to guess that.
That's definitely not standard. You're right. All right, so I have information about that Kickstarter thing I was talking about earlier, and I was 100% wrong. The Kickstarter they ran was for a sequel to Quest for Infamy, or a prequel, actually, but and this game. and its sequel, its episodic sequel. So there's 3 games that they were
3
going to start.
games. Okay. Did it
And
succeed?
it did succeed
Okay.
significantly over the asked budget. Although
Okay.
I really feel like I saw somewhere that maybe the next one was a stretch goal, or there might have been a stretch goal somewhere in this. But the second part of the anthology, the whatever Fortress of Fire, was a stretch goal, which actually they did not hit that stretch goal.
I see.
It
Okay.
said 35,000, and they didn't hit 35. They only hit 30. Okay, so there you go. That is the story.
That might be why I haven't heard anything about Fortress of Fire being developed. I don't know.
But I haven't heard about the Quest for Infinity sequel either, which was funded. So presumably they're still working on that.
Yeah, presumably. I have been following him on Twitch for some time, and I think he is working on something. Oh yeah, the Quest for Infamy: Rome to Ruin. That's the sequel to it.
Yes,
isn't it?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they are working on that. That's probably, and that honestly should be what you should be working on, instead of the stretch goal that didn't get funded, right?
Yeah. So I definitely have heard this Rome to Ruin. I see tweets on that consistently. So that is certainly in development.
Here's a question for you. How did you like the lute playing minigame mechanic?
Yeah, I thought it would have been fine. There's certainly some changes I would like to see to it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I would like for you to not have to click the one that you want to play,
watch it,
and then watch it and then play it. Like, I remember it.
Yeah.
If you just play it, it doesn't do anything. You have to click it, wait for it, and then play it.
Right, and that's
remember how to play it.
Obvious change, right? Is that make it like the Ocarina of Time, right? In Zelda, where you can ask for a reminder, but if you know it, you can just play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple change.
That's what I assumed it was, but then I played it, and it doesn't work. So that's the main thing.
I think it's just a terrible minigame. I don't know. You could make that minigame fun, but it was not fun.
I think the other thing I would have done differently is I would have bound those frets to keyboard keys.
Heck yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's ways of making this a fun little minigame. It could be like a little Guitar Hero that you put in your game. Yeah. And that's a fun little minigame. I don't know if it makes for an entire game, but it's a fun little minigame.
Yeah, I think that would have been more interesting, but it's a little tedious to have to click each one.
Yeah.
Especially after you watch the very, very slow example.
Which might be like 8 notes long. It's quite a while, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I turned that off pretty quickly, and just did not care that I was not playing the lute.
Right. I actually didn't ever turn it off, weirdly enough, even though it did annoy me.
Yeah, that's good on you, man. Good on you. You don't want to click the easy mode button.
It's just against my being. It's against my being to click any button called easy mode that says easy on it. I don't click it. So I would say, okay, voice acting in this, it's good to be totally voice acting. I'd say the voice acting was mediocre.
Okay.
It was lukewarm voice acting for the most part. There were some standouts. There were some dragged behind a bit. On average, I'd say it was sort of mediocre voice acting. I'm not going to call any voice actors out, specifically, or any characters.
But you know them,
specifically.
You can tell them by voice.
I don't know if I know anybody in this game. I'd have to look at the list. I didn't recognize offhand, but there's a possibility. Like I said, I'm not gonna call out specific characters I'd say on average, it was kind of just mediocre voice acting. Most of it was not cringeworthy. It wasn't terrible voice acting. It was, mediocre voice acting.
Well, I probably have I'm less finicky on this front. I felt that the voice acting was at minimum passable in every situation. I thought it was fine. I didn't see any problems with it. One thing it reminded me of was so I remember when the litmus test of whether if you had voice acting in a game, it was like a game I wanted to play. I remember those days when like we started getting like we had media that was capable of holding voice acting for an entire game.
Yeah, it took
all of a
5
sudden,
CDs for a single game.
Yeah, you can make the crappiest game ever, and if you have voice like full voice acting in the game, it's like okay, I'll play it. Yeah,
yeah.
I have to read every word. Oh, all right, yeah. So once again, this game brought me back to that nostalgia of
Yeah, indeed. But in the end, I just end up reading ahead of the voice actors and skipping the end of their voice acting performance anyway. But I'm impatient. And I think a lot of that had to do with my own opinion that the voice acting wasn't particularly great. So, but I won't beat the dead horse on that one.
All right. Other thoughts on this guy?
Let's see. Here's a couple. Well, one's kind of a nitpicky thing, and one is less of a nitpicky thing. But there are particular situations that you can get into. So you can cross the river one way, but you can't cross the river the other way. Why?
Because it's higher up on one side, so you can only jump across one direction.
All right, I get it, but it seems
it's just annoying.
Seems like from a game design perspective, that's not the best decision. Yeah,
I don't know if that tied into any like reason for that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Couldn't they just make you be able to jump? Make
make a bridge.
Narrow, you can make a bridge. Put a damn log over the river at that point or something. What's the issue? It's not like it's even a puzzle to get over it. You just
because you can go up to the bridge that's higher up, 2 screens up or something, and there's another bridge, so you could just go across there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just really a time waster. You go around. You have to go back around instead of going that other direction.
Yeah.
And also, when you're on the other side, the down side, then you click near there, and it just keeps telling you, "Hey, it looks like you can jump across." Oh, you can't.
Yeah, right. You can jump across to where you are, right? That's the hot spot you're clicking on, right? Yeah.
You can jump up and down in this spot. Pretend you jumped from the other side. The other thing is kind of a bigger bug, or not, maybe, okay, it's not a bug, but it is a bad design choice, I think. When you get on the ferry to go to the island, I went to the island, I got the cloak, because that was the most obvious thing. In fact, as soon as you get there, it mentions, hey, there's a cloak.
Right.
You should get that. So I got the cloak, and then I was just doing the mouse over and click on things, and the first thing I did was get back on the ferry accidentally and leave. I didn't see. I barely even. I don't even remember what the island looked like. I was there for 2 seconds, and then I can't get back. The guy won't take you back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, sure hope there's nothing there I need, except for this cloak that I just kind of accidentally picked up and got back on the ferry.
So that's interesting. Because that's what I was wondering. I wonder if he wouldn't let you get back on the ferry if you didn't have the cloak. I'm guessing he wouldn't.
I'm guessing not. Yeah.
Because he'll never let you go back, right? What's on the island, I believe, I was actually going to ask, I think if you go onto the other screen, there's like basically a credits for their people they know or backers. I'm guessing Kickstarter backers.
Oh, yeah, maybe backers.
There's probably a reward tier, like getting your name in the game or something. There it is, $75 plus, Isle of the Honored.
I bet that's what that bookcase is, too, upstairs.
There's a bookcase upstairs? Oh, yeah.
In the library, you click on the bookcase, and you see every time you click on it, there's a different book by a author. Because I bet those are user submitted. At least that was my thought when I clicked on it, because they looked to be a sort of Kickstarter reward add-in.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's on the Kickstarter rewards, but it looked like it to me.
At first glance, I don't see it here, but yeah, right. Interesting. I don't know. I like it when people do things like that. I don't think it takes away too much.
No, that's not intrusive. I'm not going to complain anything about that. So I'd say the only other real complaint I have about this game is, and it's a similar complaint that I have for Quest for Infamy. So it is definitely a design decision that they make in their games. Is there are a whole lot of locations with almost nothing to do in them. This is just like it's like just so much going around to different places, and there's at most one thing to do, like in each place, and some zero things to do. There's some locations and there's literally nothing to do. It's just a room between other rooms. That, I don't know, that gets on my nerves. It's like just moving from place to place without anything going on there.
I might be okay with that. I mean, if the locations are pretty, you're getting something.
I guess it's just not. It's not aimed at me. I guess. I guess other people probably do get something out of it.
Now, that is to say, if there's a lot of backtracking, which there tends to be in this,
there certainly was
a fair amount of backtracking. Not too bad.
There's definitely some of the puzzles in this game are like MMO fetch quests. Like, hey, go talk to this guy, and you go talk to this guy, and he says, oh, go talk to this girl. I just talked to her, and she told me to talk to you, and you're both across the map from each other.
Well, right, and you didn't know about right-click skip walk. So,
yeah, and I didn't know about right-click skip walk.
That can be troubling, yeah.
Yeah, but so that got on my nerves, and I guess, I mean, there are certainly people out there who really appreciate the background art in games, and like I said, I thought it was good, but I guess I'm just not the audience for really pretty background art.
I feel like this game, you gotta.
Rooms.
I mean, that's the person this is designed for. The only person who's gonna find this a super compelling game is gonna be someone who really likes that kind of art style and really appreciates that sort of pixel art, hand-drawn backdrop sort of stuff.
Yeah, so they're giving them as many of them as possible.
Right.
Even though, all these rooms, there's nothing that happens in them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so there are certain places, there are certain places in the forest where there are very conspicuous looking things. And sometimes there aren't even strings on them that say, like, hey, there's no reason you're ever going to... I mean, sometimes they do that, right? You don't want this log for any reason. This log is completely useless, or something like that. I think this says on the log, and like a heavy branch that you find. But there's like in one spot, there's a little mound of dirt. I have no idea why there's a little mound of dirt. And it has
There's butterflies that in one part, there's nothing you can do with them. There's all kinds of stuff that you can't interact with, that kind of stuff's fine. I'm fine with having stuff in scenes that are hotspots that you can't interact with, but it's like whole scenes that there's nothing you can ever do in the whole game. I don't know.
Well, I wonder how much of that is them prepping, because there's this episodic thing. I don't know how much of you're going to go back to this locale and they're going to reuse these spots, right?
Oh, I thought that the monk and the bard are traveling off to another land at the end.
They are, but you can imagine they're coming back sometime, right?
Maybe, but neither one of them are from there. Why would they come back there?
Because they were attacked. They attacked this kingdom, right?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I guess there's some reason they wanted their queen.
Oh, you know what's something really weird that I noticed? So at the end, I tried this. So they're attacking the little flying moth people or ant people or whatever they are.
Yeah.
They're attacking. And clearly you're supposed to use the protect song spell, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, what
I
happens
did.
if you don't? Do you die? You don't, and nothing happens. Everything's fine if you do not use the
Really?
protect
So what?
song.
You? I thought it would. I figured it would just wait until you used it.
It does not. It eventually the monk casts his spell and scares
Oh,
away the
really?
people.
Okay, so you could just sit there and
No
do
problem.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I see. Okay.
which I guess is I don't know what the right thing is. Yeah, I don't even know. Uh, you think it would just get stuck there, and they would just keep shouting, "The do something,
Yeah.
protect the
Like, nope.
queen."
You're on your own, Queen. I got my damn wish. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Anywho, that was weird. I guess I, as much as I don't want this to be like a review thing, I gotta say I think that the price of $10 feels a bit hefty for this title.
Mhm.
Uh,
I kind of agree with you.
I mean, it's got voice acting that costs money,
Yeah,
and a lot of work went into it.
yeah.
But man,
I kind of agree with you. In fact, I agree with. I thought that even before you said it when I was playing it. I thought, interesting game. $10 is a bit much, for it. It's a
yeah,
fairly short game. But I think they have all those environments. They could have made the same game with 1/3 of the rooms and um, probably cut down on the cost to make it. But
well, I mean, I don't know. Actually, you might know fairly well what goes into the cost. I don't know how much is the background art. Voice acting is a pretty large chunk. So it's
yeah,
a few thousand. I don't know how many thousand they dropped on that.
well,
But
so I'm doing 3D stuff, so it's going to be significantly different than
yeah,
2D
right.
stuff.
In some ways, it's easier, and in some ways, it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You would expect it to
So
be harder, but in some ways, it's easier, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I mean, I don't have to hire um, a 2D artist for each room. I can have one scrolling thing throughout, or reuse assets and all kinds of stuff. But of course, in a 2D, you have to draw each room separately from each other. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I don't know what their artists charged. I don't know if they hired an artist from outside. I don't know if either one of them actually is the artist. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of would assume that they are at least one of them is an artist that was working on this. I guess maybe that's a bad assumption.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Are you excited about the sequel?
Um, I don't know. I mean, the sequel to this game,
Yeah.
I never, not particularly. I have to say, I liked this game. It was enjoyable to play. I'm not really super psyched or anything. Like, oh, I can't wait till that comes out. But I mean, I might play it. I
I
might
guess,
play it.
yeah. I mean, everything has to be tempered by what we're talking about here. I would say that I would be much more interested in the sequel than I was in this game because the sequel actually has something that's happening, right? There's actual
Yeah,
stakes.
there's more
There's
stakes.
zero stakes in this
Yeah,
game
this is
at all.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. And even the people who are competing against you are all like, "Well, may the best person win."
Yeah.
Nobody's like even super competitive. And
There's
we're
the
like,
one guy who is, right? Who's
the
like,
one guy who is, and everybody thinks he's an asshole. Oh,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. No, it's very like little kids cartoon sort of mentality throughout.
And,
So
and so like Checker gives up right away. The two girls give up fairly quickly as well. They're just like, we give up.
yeah, I
And
don't think
that
they ever
Fallon
give
guy's
up. They just don't ever try really hard. They don't ever
oh,
give up. I don't know. I don't think the girls.
I thought they did, but maybe I'm misremembering that
Uh,
conversation. I didn't see it in my second playthrough. Um, uh, and then the Fallon guy, he spends most of his time at the pub anyway. So
yeah, so he's at the pub, and then he shows up when you get to the rose garden and grabs the daughter who he thinks is the queen, and then goes back to the pub when he realizes that it's not. So he gives up, I guess. I mean, he definitely does after he mistakenly gets the wrong girl. So in your playthrough, you never saw him mistakenly get the daughter.
I did
So
not.
how did he end up back at the pub?
He was there from the get-go. I went there the very
But then
pub,
you meet him in
and
the forest once
I
too.
do. Yeah, there was like some continuity issues there. So I went to the pub like right away. He was in the forest. He was there. The crystal sort of forest
Yeah,
area.
yeah, yep, yep.
He just sort of jumps back and forth. Well, he's only in the crystal forest that one time, and I talked to him, and then that was about it.
Yeah. But I mean, when the first time he's in the pub, he's standing by the wall, and then after you get the rose, he's sitting at the pub at the bar stool.
I don't remember where his position was regarding that. To be honest,
Okay.
I didn't realize I was witnessing something which was out of the ordinary, so I would have to go back and.
Right.
So I hear that the devs are in the chat. Is what I hear.
Oh, is that right? I unfortunately have the. Oh, there we go.
So that's awesome.
Hey, yeah, Steve, how are you doing? Okay, so he says some of that is prep, a lot of that is cut material. Is this talking about the rose garden thing we were just talking about, or?
So, Steve, I don't know if you were here earlier. Interestingly, I had a different experience than Vance going through this, where I think I found like a playthrough bug where I skipped a few of the steps in the progress, because I was able to unite Ted and the potion store woman without collecting a rose.
Yes, yeah. So that's what we were talking about with the. So Zach didn't get the rose. He somehow didn't need to, and so skipped a whole bunch with the interaction with the bear and the girls, and the getting the beehive, and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah. So he says it's probably a bug. It looks like.
Yeah. It was still, the game made sense. I guess I always chalked it up to the fact that I felt like there was going to be something in the next episode, but yeah, I guess that made sense. That would tie up a lot of loose ends in what I felt was happening in the game.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that about does it. Really great art in the game, of course, as we mentioned several times. Nice. Yeah, go ahead.
And captured that feel.
Nostalgic mood. Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. Yes. Yeah. Nice. King's Quest nostalgia. And some direct King's Quest references too, of course. So it's clearly intended. Like the witch's name is very similar to the witch's name in King's Quest. Inside her house, there's a reference to Graham in the book.
Oh.
And there's even that empty log. There's that one King's Quest game, I don't remember which one, where you have to get something out of the empty log. Well, there's the empty log in this game, but there's nothing in it. But,
that's what that text was referring to. And I tried to click on it. It said like, "There's nothing that interests you about this log," or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Sometimes a log is just a log. I think it's. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it says so. Sean Bills was the lead, and he was really going for a King's Quest homage. Steve says so. Yep,
So
it came
any
through. It came through very well. That's kind of one of the first things we mentioned since you came in late. Um, One of the first things out of our mouth was that it really comes across the King's Quest vibe. Comes across loud and clear in this game.
Can I ask Steve? Is there any? I don't think I saw this in your Twitter feed. Is there any? Are you guys working on the next in this series, or is this on hold while working on the Quest for Infamy project?
Indie Fireside exclusive. Also, hi, I'm the third guy who wasn't there for most of this. Well, I was here, but you know.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like the sequel is still in the works. Written it and all right. Yep. Good.
All right. Well, are you guys pretty much? I mean, you guys can obviously still talk to the dev if you'd like, but as far as like the full shows goes, you pretty much got all your thoughts out, or?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say about it. Anything closing remarks, Zach?
Nope. That's my spiel.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice fun game. Very sort of nostalgic King's Quest game with some nice art, fully voice acted.
Redoing the King's Challenge. Ooh.
So
Okay.
I'm kind of curious. Did they
Remastered?
Because you were asking about what went into the voice acting. Maybe because I mean, there's different avenues. There are talented people that will do it for free. You know, if you ask, or there's different avenues of it. Do you think you were asking about if they dropped in like the standard rates of where it would be like a couple $1,000 or something like that, or?
Yeah, I was a bit curious about. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit gauche to ask about finances.
I guess that's true.
Actual debt, but yeah, right.
I'm a little. What's the word? Crass, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
No, I mean.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I brought the subject up, really, but yeah, I was wondering about finance because I remember working with Vance, looking into voice talent at one, and the sort of rates do vary considerably, so it's hard to even predict what things cost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know you said you came in late, Steve, but this will eventually go up on our YouTube/website, so you're welcome to check out the whole thing and obviously continue the conversation in our Discord. And that goes for everyone else who may be listening. Check out our Discord links down below the stream and or the VOD if you're watching that, and or you can obviously talk to us on Twitter. Vance's Twitter's on screen there, Standoff Game Dev, and of course at IGR Podcast for that, for all of us. Anyway, thank you guys once again for leading this month. You should be announcing, it's my pick, so I'll get that to you within the next 24 hours, and then you can announce that on Discord/Twitter, and we'll look forward to that next month. All right,
and thanks for coming, Steve. Good to have you here as well, and no problem at all. We definitely love to cover and discuss indie games. So
and thank you for making
it so that we could do it.
Thank you for making indie games.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, we will talk to you all later.
All right, goodbye, everyone.